here this morning. I would, however, give the honor to the Director of Agriculture, Mr. Randy Elliott, to give the opening statement first, and then I will come behind. I'm basically here providing support to Mr. Elliott, to the Ministry and the Department of Agriculture. So I will allow Mr. Elliott to give the opening statement.
Good morning, and good morning to all who's listening here this morning. And it's indeed a pleasure for us to be here on Win FM. And we're indeed grateful to be here. This morning is part of promotional activities that we have coming next week as we celebrate World Food Day 2020. World Food Day, it's a celebration put on by FAO, and it basically deals with ensuring that food is available for persons to eat. This year, World Food Day is celebrated under the theme, Grow, Nourish, Sustain, Together Our Actions Are Our Future. And we have a packed week of activities that we'd like to share with the general public this morning.
Clive, and I know that many persons may be wondering where does Abnati fits into agriculture. For those who do not know, I have a diploma, an associate degree in agriculture. I would have studied agriculture at the Eastern Caribbean Institute of Agriculture and Forestry in Trinidad. I would have graduated sometime back in 1987. I would have worked with the Ministry of Education up until 1998, teaching agricultural science in the schools. And when I look at the Department of Agriculture on Nevis, I see many of my students that are now heading the main sectors at the Agriculture Department, at the abattoir, Mr. Gary Griffin, the Chief Extension Officer, Mr. Steve Reed, and some of the supporting staff, Mr. Floyd Liburd, the Assistant Director, all those who have come through. My hands while is in agriculture. Unfortunately, back in 1998, they would have removed the agri, left me with and so I have found myself in the field of culture, but I want to emphasize that there is a direct link between culture and agriculture, because when we speak of culture, we speak about the way of life of our people, our fathers. One of the things that we have to focus on is the food that our forefathers ate back in the day. And hence, one of the things that we strive to do at Culture is that big food fair, where we focus on traditional foods that our forefathers used to use. We also try to focus on the crops or the foods now our the farmers. And so hence, the reason why I've been incorporated to be a part of the World Food 2020 promotion. And I want to, by extension, let our listeners know that partnering with the Department of Agriculture also is the Ministry of Tourism, because they assimilate partnership, assimilate linkage between agriculture, culture, and tourism. Because when our tourists come to our shores, they come to the sun, sea, and sky. They come to savor the foods, the local foods that we have available here on Nevis. And hence the reason why the department has decided to incorporate the tourism sector.
I'm going to have to just interrupt you for a moment. I think we're having some technical difficulties. We're not hearing you clearly. There seems to be a huge echo. We will try to get that sorted out. So We'll be back with you in just a moment. We're going to hear from our partners, try to rectify the problem because we want people to hear clearly what you're saying on Win FM 90.9. So do stand by.
Drink healthy. Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors. Drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy. Drink lots of chubby. Kicking, football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Every day, your immune system is compromised. You use up vitamin C quickly and even faster with stress and cold. Burst back into life with Halib Orange. Burst back into health with 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, as much as in 12 oranges. Each effervescent tablet is bursting with fresh fruit flavor. Sparkling orange, lemon and sugar-free blackcurrant, also suitable for diabetics. Health never tasted so good. Halib Orange, bursting with flavor, bursting with health.
All right, return to Win FM is 90.9. Hopefully, we have rectified our technical issues. We want to say good morning once again to Mr. Antonio Avenatti Liburd. Mr. Liburd, good morning. Hello. All right, let's say good morning to Mr. Elliott, Mr. Randy Elliott. Mr. Elliott, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, we're having some technical problems. We do apologize to our listeners, and we do apologize to you as well. We don't really want to have you on the air and people can't hear exactly what you're saying. We want to try again. So we want to start from the very top for those listeners who could not really hear what you were saying. We're here to talk about agriculture and what's happening with agriculture. And I want to invite opening comments from Mr. Elliott, as directed by Mr. Avenatti Liburd. And then we're going to go to Mr. Liburd. So, Mr. Elliott, can we hear you now?
Sorry?
Yes, can we begin from this very start? We want to begin with your opening comments, Mr. Elliott, and then we're going to go to Mr. Avenatti.
Okay, basically, good morning. My name is Randy Elliott. I'm the Director of Agriculture here in Nevis. Basically, what we're here this morning is to share to the general public our mission and our intention of hosting a week of activities next week as we celebrate World Food Day 2020. World Food Day is a celebration recognized internationally. It's celebrated through the arm of the United Nations, FAO. And it's basically to bring awareness to the general public and to ensure that we have zero hunger globally. This year, 2020 World Food Day is celebrated under the theme, Grow, Nourish, Sustain, together our actions are our future. Early this year, as we were struck by COVID, the Ministry and Department of Agriculture reached out to the NIA, and we were able to put a number of stimulus packages in place for our farmers. Not just our crop farmers, but for our livestock farmers. And since then, we have been able to see the fruit of our labor here on the island of Nevis, where We would have seen a drastic increase in sweet potato production, a drastic increase in bananas, a drastic increase in melons, and a range of different crops. And for this celebration, we want to ensure that our farmers find an avenue where they can sell the produce to the general public, and not just to sell, but for the general public to be able to see exactly who the farmers are, where the food is actually coming from. So going forward, when one see local food, one could actually put a face to the producer of the food. And that's the whole idea behind of the week of activities next week.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Elliott. Let's go to Mr. Abernathy Liburd. Mr. Liburd?
Yes, good morning, Clive, and good morning to those persons listening to Win FM. I'm here basically providing support to the Department of Agriculture. Many persons may be wondering, well, how does Abernathy fits into agriculture? But for those who do not know, I'm a trained agriculturist. I would have taught agricultural science at the Jindaland Secondary School for some 16 years before tenure with the Department of Culture, the Ministry of Culture. This activity this year is in celebration, as Randy said, of World Food Day 2020. And so the department reached out to me to assist them in putting on this event. They have also reached out to the Ministry of Tourism. And so it's a three-way collaboration between the Ministry of Tourism, the Ministry of Culture, and also the Ministry of Agriculture. And so we, this morning, will be providing the general public with some promotional information that we hope would entice the general public to be a part of the week of activities that the Department and Ministry of Agriculture are planning for next week.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now let's get to it then. What are those activities and why those activities?
This week, we always say it's a week long of activities. We are commencing this Friday. And what we are doing this Friday, we are going to be in Rams here in Davis, Stony Grove, where we have a number of chefs that will be there in Rams, presenting some of the local cuisine here at Davis, where they'll be looking at different meat type, local fish, and also local ground provision in Rams. And this kicks off in Rams at 4 this Friday afternoon in Rams. So we're urging the general public here in Nevis to visit Rams, see exactly what is it we're doing in Rams. This concept came about through our partnership with the Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Tourism. Next week, we kicked off our week in the Memorial Square in Charlestown, where we have that Monday dubbed as Promotional Monday. And the staff at the Department of Agriculture will be there in the square from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And although it's Promotional Monday, where we are hoping to promote the activity, persons who need technical support, who have questions as it relates to questions with maybe your farm, maybe your backyard, maybe a small pig you have, a goat, technical staff will be in the square to address those questions to you. So we're asking the public to visit the Charlestown Square, the Memorial Square on Monday. That's next week. That's the 12th of October from 8 to 4. Also on Monday, the Minister of Agriculture will be making his federal address as it relates to World Food Day 2020 on Von Radio, and it will also be on other radio stations. So we ask the public to listen out to that also. On October 13th, which is Tuesday, next week Tuesday, we are looking to have a farmers market. Farmers market is something that we would have commenced last year May here in Davis, and it's different to the normal market. It's not the early morning market; it's an afternoon market, and we are taking the farmers to the communities. So next week Tuesday we'll be at Beach Road. Those who don't know Nevis not too well, it's just below Cosmiles or on your way to Gingerland. So we're asking the general public to come out, support the farmers. Again, it's an opportunity for the public to know who are your producers, who is producing your food. We also have there the Fisher's Cup. In Nevis, a number of fishing cups, and they will be there also. So fresh catch fish will be there. Those who have lobsters will be there. And we'll also have a number of agro-processors there also, because coming out of this entire COVID pandemic and from our experiences, we realize that there's a lot that we have to do locally. And here in Nevis are trying our utmost best to promote our farmers, promote our fishers, and our agro-processors. On Wednesday, we also gonna have another farmers market on Wednesday. And this Wednesday, farmers market moved to the home of where farmers market in Nevis originally started, which is the top of Government Road. For those who know Club Chinen, it's right on the opposite of Club Chinen. Again, the hours for the farmers market are from 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Again, it's an opportunity for you to come and meet your farmers and mingle with your farmers, get to know who they are, get to know what foods is actually grown in Nevis. On Thursday, the action kicks off Thursday, where all the activities of the department now move to the cultural village, or where the kitchens normally come to the cultural village. That's why we have Abo here also, because it's agriculture and cultural. So we are mixing the two. So the action kicks off in the cultural village and on the netball complex on Thursday the 15th. And on this day, we have it dubbed as Multicultural Thursday, where we realize that here in Nevis or here in the Federation, there's a number of nationalities residing here. And we would have reached out to the different nationalities, where at least 8 different nationalities will have their food on display. It is just not their food. We recognize that there's a number of sweet potatoes on island, there's a number of banana on island, there's a number of breadfruit on island. So each one of these territories will have to do a dish, or have their preparation will be surrounding one of these dishes, because we want to encourage the public to support locals, support the stuff that are grown here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We also will have the master class, because there's a number of persons that you would speak to, and I'm sure Abo is here, and there's a number of persons who would say, well, I don't know to eat breadfruit, I don't know to cook breadfruit, I only know it from how my mom cook it, I eat it in soup or whatever the case may be, or I only eat banana or fish. So we are hoping to have masterclass sessions on the Thursday, and basically the masterclass sessions, how it's set up is that we have 2 chefs. One is Chef Henville, and one is the reigning Mango Festival chef, Young Wentworth, who would be there. And basically how this setup is that the chef will be there giving instructions on how to cook. We have space for 10 persons within each sessions, and we're just having 2 sessions for Thursday. And so the chef will be there. You have all the ingredients. All you do, you shop, you register, and the chef will show exactly how to prepare these dishes. Because we here in Nevis believe that the food here can actually feed our people, and we encourage our people to eat healthy. So these two sessions, the first session will kick off at the first session will kick off at 12 noon. The first masterclass session will kick off at 12 noon. So for those persons in Nevis who probably didn't cook in the morning and want to come to the cultural village to cook, let me put it, to cook their lunch, it is possible. And for those who wish not to cook, but also to come to the cultural village to support the vendors, support the different nationalities that are going to be there at the cultural village. So the first session starts at 2. The second session is at 4:30. So we're trying to catch those persons from after work also. And we also have in between, outside of the masterclass, we also have a cooking demo where someone will just cook, tell you exactly, okay, this is how you prepare this, and you could probably even visit some of the farmers who will be on site, and you go home and you cook those dishes. So that's the Thursday. On the Friday, we have the beer and grill, or grill and beer Friday. And we have a number of grillers in Nevis, and quite a bit of number of grillers. They do a lot of local stuff. They do a lot of local meats. This year we're gonna have local chicken also on the grill. So we asking the public to come out and support the grillers. We also have the food vendors there at the village also. But live as it may, on all the days when we're at the cultural village, it is just not for food. The abattoir would be there also. Our processors would be there also. Local made ice cream would be there also. So it is something that you can't miss. Something that we don't want you to miss. So on the Friday, we have the Grill Friday, and we're asking the public to support. We have one food demo on the Friday, which is 4:30 after work. So we're asking the people to come up and support. We at the department, culture and tourism, realize that we can't do anything to leave our Kittitians out. So even those Kittitian brothers and sisters who cannot join it to Nevis the Thursday and the Friday, we're continuing on the Saturday. And on the Saturday, you would have heard others spoke of the Culturama food fair and so forth. So on the Saturday, we have it dubbed Throwback Saturday, Traditional Saturday. So for those persons who would have longed to eat a piece of smoked herring or cornmeal and liver, or a piece of corn pork, or roast jacks, or roast sprats, we have it there at the cultural village on the Saturday. The activity on the Saturday, we kick off at 10 a.m. and we go straight until 10 p.m. in the evening. On the Saturday, we are looking to have one masterclass session on the Saturday, and the masterclass session on the Saturday is at 2 p.m. So we're hoping that our Kittitian brothers and sisters could actually journey over to Nevis and take part in this session. We also going to have a mixology class, because we realize quite a bit of persons, they go to the bars, they go out to restaurants, and they don't know the drinks, but we want to have a mixology class so persons could actually mix their own beverages at home. And this specific event, the specific section of the event, is sponsored by Clifton Estate Rum. And I must tell them thanks for coming on board with this. We are going to have at least 3 different recipes that are produced by Clifton Estate. but the bartenders also would be developing a recipe of their own. And once you're there and you're going looking, you yourself could actually sample the mixes from these, but they're all local rum produced by Clifton Estate, and the ingredients with it, we have some ingredients that must be included, which is mango, golden apple, tamarind, and soursop. These must be included within the mix coming from the bartenders, because the agro-processing unit in Nevis does quite a bit of this. So if you listen for the time, the time for the mixing, it's 12 to 2 p.m., 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., and 6:45 p.m. to 8 p.m., and 8:15 p.m. to 10 p.m. So for those who are around, tell yourself you could actually get a taste of the Clifton Estate rum, you could actually get a taste of the mixes. But the highlight for the day, and I need the public to take note of this. The highlight for the day is the minister's cook-off, and that is the highlight of the day. We all know that we have some very good cooks in Nevis as ministers, and comments are not made, oh, the food is prepared already, or the food may be cooked already, but on the Saturday, you'll be able to see the ministers of Nevis cooking on site, preparing on site. And it is nothing pre-prepared. They will all have to cook there on site, and it is something that you don't want to miss. So the Nevis Department of Agriculture, along with the Cultural Committee and Nevis Tourism Authority and Ministry of Tourism, we all welcome everyone to come out and support the events.
So, Mr. Elliott, before I go to Mr. Abernathy, you had any boot camps to these ministers? Any special training sessions for them? Did you have any boot camps to the ministers who are doing the cook-off? You have any special training, or they come in with a natural ability? I can't hear you. I think your mic may be muted. You may have to put on back your mic. We can't hear you.
Yes, sorry.
Yes, let me ask the question again. No special training and no midnight classes and all that? You're sure they could cook, right?
You're put into the challenge, but for additional support, each minister is allowed two supporting members. So they could bring whoever tool they wish to bring in terms of assisting them in the preparation. All they know what the menu is, but they're free to cook it in whatever style they wish to cook. But it is something which will be judged also, and we're hoping to have a winner coming out of this.
This is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Elliott. Let's go to Mr. Abernathy Liburd. Mr. Liburd, you spoke about being an agriculturalist, and then you were stripped to becoming a culturist, and now you're doing agro-processing, so you're agro-culturist. Is that it?
I said earlier, I would have been trained in agriculture. Many persons may not know that, but my forte really is in agriculture. And I'm here basically to provide some support to the Ministry of Agriculture. Now, Clive, I want to emphasize something, that our agro-processors and the persons from the abattoir, and also our crop farmers, and I think that Randy may have mentioned that our officials will be there as well. And so we will have a wide variety of agricultural produce on display, on sale, come next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, while we are at the cultural village. Now, I want to emphasize the link. I may have said it before, but we were experiencing some audio problems. I want to emphasize the link between culture tourism, and agriculture. Now, agriculture is a very important part in our local tourism sector and also in agriculture. Also in culture rather. Now you know that when the tourists come in to our country, they no longer come here for the sea and sun. They want to experience our local foods, all of the local, the traditional cuisine of Nevis. And it's the reason why we at Culturama have that all the food fair on the Culturama weekend, where we try to emphasize or we try to showcase, we try to bring to the fore the traditional foods of Nevis. And you may know at that event, persons would have come over from St. Kitts, persons would have flocked to the food fair from Nevis, and know that we try to showcase a wide variety of local foods. And so there's a direct link between culture, between agriculture and the tourism sector. Now, I want to emphasize also the importance of this event. It is to demonstrate that the need to produce locally, and in so doing to reduce the food import bill. Now, if we go back to 2017, after that storm that would have affected us, now a lot of persons in St. Kitts Nevis went into a panic mode because there was a period of probably a week, 2 weeks, when no containers were coming in, and so householders went into panic mode because they were not able to purchase locally produced agricultural products. And so following up with COVID-19, we have recognized that the shutdowns, those days when we are allowed to go to the supermarkets, we would have experienced long lines. And by the time some of us get into the supermarkets, the local produce would have been bought up by the persons who would have gone in before us. Now, the NIA decided to offer some incentives to not only farmers, but to household backyard gardeners. And what we have realized is that there are a number of persons are now into farming. If you drive around Nevis right now, Clive, there are a number of farms, greenhouses, backyard farms, large-scale farms, medium-sized farms. And so in another matter of weeks, there's going to be a supply, an abundance rather, of agricultural produce in Nevis. And so the department decided to put on this event, A Taste of Nevis, to advertise and to promote the produce of our local farmers. Also, the demonstration classes, the classes where Chef Henville and all the other chefs would be teaching persons how to cook the various foods, is to show our householders, show our local St. Kitts and Nevis consumers different ways of utilizing the commodities that the farmers will have in abundance over the next couple of weeks. And so these commodity utilization classes are going to be very important, because what we want that once the farmers put the produce on the shelves of the supermarkets, once they put these products at their pop-up stalls along the roads, and that we want Nevisians, citizens to go out and purchase these products and put into practice what they would have learned at these local at these master chef classes that are going to be demonstrated at the event next week.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Abernathy Liburd. Mr. Elliott, just hold a moment. We're going to hear from our partners. I'm going to come back and ask you a bit about that import bill and something about some of the incentives that you've been offering to boost the products that may be, the agricultural products that may be in season at the moment. We'll be right back with you. Just stay tuned.
Feel the magic happening. Campari. Taste. Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
Hey kids, drink healthy! Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking, football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Every day, your immune system is compromised. You use up vitamin C quickly and even faster with stress and cold. Burst back into life with Halib Orange. Burst back into health with 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, as much as in 12 oranges. Each effervescent tablet is bursting with fresh fruit flavor. Sparkling orange, lemon and sugar-free blackcurrant, also suitable for diabetics. Health never tasted so good. Halib Orange, bursting with flavor, bursting with health.
Each one of FM is 90.9. You're listening to Voices, and this segment comes to you the very best wishes of Rams Trading. We're having a conversation this morning with Mr. Randy Elliott and, of course, Mr. Antonio Abernathy Liburd. And we're talking about the activities for Agriculture Week. Just about to pose the question now about that food import bill, what it looks like in the context of the Federation or NEFIS in particular, and what are some of the incentives you're offering in terms of boosting agriculture on the island. So, Mr. Elliott?
Over the years, we would have seen a trend of a number of food items coming into the country, and a number of which that the country can produce, and a number of which the country can complement as it relates to the type of food. And COVID within itself would have brought some light to all of this. It was not seen before, but the department and the Ministry of Agriculture by itself cannot completely reduce the food import bill significantly. And what COVID would have done is to show persons, show our farmers, show our homeowners that local food production is possible. Increase in local production is also possible. And during the heat of COVID, the early stages of COVID, the department and the NIA would have sanctioned a number of stimulus packages for our farmers and for our backyard gardeners. And some of these included seeds. We would have given out a number of seeds to our homeowners, where homeowners were given at least 5 different seed types, ranging from protein-based, carb-based foods also. So we would have reached out to them. We also would have partnered with our farmers as it relates to the distribution of seeds to our farmers. Quite a bit of seeds were distributed to our farmers also here in Mavis. And we didn't just leave at seeds. We also did seedling. Our propagation unit worked over and beyond. Even during the 24-hour lockdown, our staff at the unit had to be working as it relates to showing that seedlings were available for homeowners and for farmers as we were able to roll out our stimuluses in different stages. We also did quite a bit of free land preparation for farmers. Not just existing farmers, but realized quite a bit of new farmers actually came on board also. The investment that you saw from some new farmers quite significant. Persons who you didn't expect to enter into farming are now doing it. We also had quite a bit of homeowners coming on the street. We would have rolled out a number of different means in terms of how one could do a little backyard garden at home without actually disturbing the entire lawn. So the whole feedback from the community, it was tremendous. The NIA and the Ministry of Agriculture, we also distributed a number of fencing wire for farmers. Again, this again saw our farmers benefiting, saw our homeowners benefiting tremendously, because quite a bit of persons have been complaining about monkey and monkey damages. And with the fencing wire, we were able to assist persons in terms of securing the property, securing their crops, whether commercial farmers or the homeowners, but securing their property a little better. We actually assist a number of persons, especially new individuals, as it relates to Bacchus services. We were able to go out, clean lands, and ensure that these persons were up and running, and not just up and running, but up and running within a quick time. The NIA also made a decision for the free water for farmers also. And within that by itself, farmers were able to save significantly as it relates to free water, because COVID just didn't hit, but it hit in the time when it was a drought, and there was a burden on the water supply. But we must say that we Nevis, we were able to pass through that stage. We were able to ensure that water was available to our farmers on their farms. And one of the things that we did with our farmers, and I must commend most of my farmers, because all didn't come on board, but I must commend most of the farmers, is that they were able to transfer the savings as it relates to savings in fertilizer, savings in land prep, savings in the water, savings in seeds and seedlings. They were able to translate that to the end consumer. So I must commend some of my farmers who would have done that. We at the department, we made a bold decision also that for those farms who need assistance, we were going to assist, and we reached out to a number of farms, and we were able to send a number of our staff to farms where farms receive assistance, whether it is planting of their crops, whether it's setting up the irrigation, whether it's weeding, whether it's pesticide application, or even harvesting. So the farmers in Nevis, they were quite pleased. Coming out of this, well, one of the things that we saw, and which was a challenge in the past, was we're able to simulate the crop scheduling and crop forecasting a little better with our farmers. Because in the past, farmers planted when they wanted to plant. And we would have sat with our farmers and indicated to them that it doesn't make sense to have a bumper crop now and thereafter you don't have anything. And we farmers agreed, and we were able to lay out our planting in terms of this is what Nevis needs. This is what we need to be produced. And farmers came on board, so we were able to have the commodities subsequently after each other. One of the challenges that we faced during the whole period also thus far is the issue of excessive heat. We did have some excessive heat. We did have some crops that were damaged from excessive heat, but we also use the opportunity to train our farmers to combat some of these issues going forward. So what we are doing next week, our activity next week, A Taste of Nevis, is just to showcase to the public what is it that's been going on within the sector. These are the fruits of our labor. These are the fruits of the stimulus packages. And even outside of A Taste of Nevis, we see a number of individuals who are harvesting quite a bit. We even see churches now coming. Like pass on the Port Road, you actually see a church there selling honeydew melons, and this is this just show how the efforts of the department, the efforts of the NIA, and how we were able to touch all corners of the island. So I must say thank you to our farmers. I must say thank you to all who would have come on board to ensure that Nevis is able to have food. And it is a momentum that we don't want to lose. It's a momentum that we're going to continue with going forward as it relates to all our existing farmers, ensuring that the adequate supply is always available. New farmers, we are going to ensure that the support system is there, because we want our farmers to continue, we want our new investors to continue. One of the things that I would have touched on, and you've seen it in Nevis now, there's a big trend in Nevis as it relates to the agricultural sector. As it relates to now what we are finding in the agriculture sector, the average age of the individual who's farming has significantly reduced. The average age of a farmer in Nevis now is at least 35. And one of the other things that we realize coming out of COVID, or even just before COVID, is a lot of professionals getting into the sector. You have architects, you have medical surgeons, you have businessmen. These are all persons getting into the sector. We have computer scientists. These are all getting into the sector. So it's a clear indication that there's life within the sector. There's a momentum within the department, within the whole sector that these persons wish to be a part of. And the message of we have to be able to feed ourselves are reaching the ears of within our community.
Now, Clive, just to continue, just to make an immediate and the reduction of the food input bill. Now, we have been talking this morning about the increased production in agriculture. And one of the things that the department and the ministry has been mandated to do is to reach out to the supermarkets. We want to see a reduction in the number of containers that are coming in with foods that can be produced, that can be grown locally on Nevis. And so this activity next week, Taste of Nevis, with this activity, Randy spoke about an event that they will be having in Rams supermarket this Friday afternoon, is actually to show our local supermarkets that yes, our farmers have responded to the call from the NIA to produce, and we want the supermarkets now to partner with us, with the Department of Agriculture, with the NIA, in reducing the items that they can buy here, reducing the import of the items that the farmers can produce here. And also, the department will also be looking or exploring to find the regional markets in nearby territories like Aguila, St. Martin, Mountstrat, and Tiga, if possible, where we can reach out and we can sell the produce of our local farmers in these islands, and hence we receive some foreign exchange from our agriculture sector.
And that leads to my next question for Mr. Elliott. Mr. Elliott, give some of us who are not as aware of what's happening in Nevis as we should be, what are you producing in Nevis, and what are the opportunities that you see, and perhaps what would you earmark as potentially available for export?
We are currently looking at a number of crops. One crop that our farmers are currently very good at is tomatoes. We also have a number of new entrepreneurs, businessmen, architects, who are now getting into greenhouses, peppers, colored peppers. But even when we look at Nevis, for instance, in terms of the number of peppers that are imported in the country, it is significant. But when we look at what we were able to do within the third quarter, that's between July, August, September, we have been able to reduce that importation significantly here on the island of Nevis. So we are still in discussion with some of our new entrepreneurs as it relates to commodities that we are looking at. As I said, the tomatoes, you have the peppers, you have the melons that we are very good at also. Because even, I think was it even up to 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I don't know if you can recall, but we actually had a farmer that went down to Stinkits with a bus full of cantaloupe. So it's an indication that we have the potential to do a lot here in Nevis. One of the issues that we would have faced in Ireland is cold storage. That again is currently being addressed. We would have been able to start construction. We're hoping to complete our chill facilities by year end going into January. And that way again would give a little boost as it relates to farmers being able to plant in larger quantities, and we'll be able to reach out a lot more to the islands around us. One of the things that we are also looking at from the department here in Nevis and also in St. Kitts is the poultry sector. We are currently very good on the island of Nevis, and I'm sure in St. Kitts also, as it relates to the egg production, that for records that we have here in Nevis does not import egg at all. Only during the months of December, when you have that peak in the Christmas, persons wanting egg for bin, but Nevis do not import egg outside of that period. But the other sector of the poultry you're looking at is the broiler production in terms of producing now for the meat. That's a very lucrative sector, is a lucrative market. When we look at the figures of chicken coming into the Federation, it's in the millions. And we believe that these are figures that we can reduce significantly within the first stages. Our intention is not to fully complement 100%, but as we take the market by 10% or 20 going forward, we're hoping that one day here in Nevis and in St. Kitts we'll be self-sufficient as it relates to poultry and the chicken. One thing that we continue to ask the public though is that we continue to ask the public is to support local, buy local. That's one of the things that we can't emphasize enough. And we would have heard it from the Ministry of Trade also in terms of supporting homegrown companies, and it's the same thing that we're saying from the Agriculture Department. Support the local producers, because once farmers are able to sell their produce, may the farmer be in St. Kitts or in Nevis, then the farmer will be a lot more encouraged to do more. And when we look at our soils, we do believe that we here in St. Kitts and Nevis, that we have the capabilities of feeding a lot of these territories that are around us. And we are now looking at that, and that's the new way that we are looking within the not too distant future.
Well, that's a lot of good news. Before I go to Mr. Abernathy, though, let me ask you, Mr. Elliott, and perhaps Mr. Abernathy, Liburd could chip in as well. What are you doing in terms of branding your produce? You know, the U.S. has this FDA-approved thing that they put on their products. What are you doing in terms of Nevis? Are you discussing branding your local products so that they just greet the eye as you enter a facility, you know, well, that's from Nevis, and I want to have that?
Okay. What we are doing here in Nevis, well, coming from the department point of view, we're looking at the packaging process of our commodities. It's something that we are currently working on as it relates to the agricultural products. We have been in close collaboration with the Republic of China and Taiwan as it relates to testing of local products. So it is something that we are currently working on here in Nevis. We push our Eat Local, Buy Local campaign. We try to put our stickers on our products that are coming from our abattoir in Nevis. We proud ourselves of producing over 23 different processed products from the abattoir. These are all labeled. You will find some in Sinkit also, some of the products from our abattoir in Sinkit. And the abattoir, the processing unit also, we are looking at in terms of improving the packaging of, as it relates to our flour, our concentrates, and so forth coming from the processing unit. But we have quite a bit of farmers in Nevis also who are improving in terms of the labeling, the packaging, and branding. If you look at one products, you find those up in Sinkit, you find them in Nevis, and you look at Paris leafy greens. You go to Valumart Sinkit, they're in Sinkit, and what you see is basically you would not know exactly where these things are coming from unless you pay attention to the labels. So we believe that we here in Nevis and Sinkit also that we have the potential here, and we intend to harness that potential.
Well, gentlemen, we're out of time, but we had some technical difficulties when we first started, so I want to go on for the next 2 minutes, just 2 minutes more. So I'm going to ask you to just recap the points that you want to leave with the public before we say goodbye for this morning. Mr. Liburd, I think your mic is muted. Yes.
Here. In terms of what we will do in next week, we have focused a lot on the foods that are going to be on sale, but there's also going to be some entertainment. So we are here again is where I come in as someone from the Ministry of Culture. We will be having some entertainment throughout the day on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll be having masquerades, we'll be having clowns, we'll be having African drummers, we'll be having steel pan, and we'll be having our local string band. And so it's not going to be all food. I know that there's this popular song by Casanova, Food All Over, but it's going to be mixed with some cultural entertainment that is going to be provided by the good folks at the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation. Now, again, I want to emphasize the importance of what we are doing next week, and to say that prior to 2017, and we have always had an Eat Local Day here on Nevis, and that went under for about 2 or 3 years. And so this event this year is aimed at reviving the Eat Local Day. It's not going to be one day this year, it's going to be over a whole week, but the entire promotion is geared towards encouraging our local consumers, encouraging our restaurants, our hotels to utilize more of the local produce of our farmers. And so, in wrapping up, I'm going to say, I'm going to extend an invitation to our brothers and sisters and kids to come on over, partner with us. I want to pay homage also to some of our sponsors. Ram Supermarket is on board. First Federal Bank is on board, and I want to say a big thank you to First Federal. Mark Terron Mark Terron, he produces a local rum. He's on board with us. Clifton Estate Rum, they are on board with us. Carrie Breweries, they are also on board with us. And we want to say a big thank you to all of these sponsors that have come on board. I'll allow Randy now to give a final comment. Thanks you for having me. Thank you for us, Clive.
Clive, yeah, thanks again. I think Abba would have said it all, but I would just like the general public, both here in Nevis and our brothers and sisters in St. Kitts, to come all over. The energy and the support that our Kittitian brothers and sisters show Nevis, we're expecting to see that same energy come next week. We promise that when you come, it's going to be an affair that you won't miss. And it's an indication to show that agriculture is making strides here in Nevis and in St. Kitts also. So we're inviting the general public to come out and support. Remember, this Friday we start at Ram, and then next week from the 12th to 17th, the promotion in the square, the farmers market at Beach Road on Tuesday the 12th, Tuesday the 13th, farmers market on the top of Government Road on Wednesday the 14th, and the cultural village and the network complex from the 15th until the 17th. So we ask the general public to come out, support, have fun. Thank you.
And thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Mr. Randy Elliott, Director of Agricultural Nevis, Mr. Antonio Avenatti Liburd, Director of Culture, for being a part of our program today. We wish you every success in your initiatives, and of course we will be keeping in touch and keeping our publics informed. That's exactly what you're doing on Nevis as well. Thank you so much for your time. All right, it's time now to bring you the headline news. We do apologize for the late start of the news. We just have some technical difficulties at the beginning of our program, so we are in extra time. But right now, we're going to bring you the headline news right here on Win FM.
You found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.
We now bring you the Win FM Headline News. The Win FM Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, Carib Brewery, CNC Trading.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic and residential care for older adults. It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com. or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business property, we got you covered. Motor or personal or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
The Four Seasons Resort Nevis on Tuesday, October 6th announced that they will reopen to welcome guests back to the resort on November 1st, 2020. In a statement released on their website, the resort said the reopening is just in time for the Thanksgiving and festive holidays. In light of the current global coronavirus pandemic, the resort has embarked upon a health and a safety program dubbed Lead with Care, which will provide ongoing real-time guidance on the evolving COVID-19 situation. Lead with Care establishes clear procedures that educate and empower employees to take care of guests and each other, the statement read. The resort, which has been closed since March, played a significant role in offering assistance to the front-line workers on Nevis by providing more than 700 meals during the lockdown period, donated clothes from retail stock to those in need in the community, collected more than 200 backpacks full of school supplies for children going back to school, and organized resort clean-ups with at least 15 team members per day coming together to pick up trash, discarded items, dried leaves, and other forms of debris around the property. The resort reopening comes on the heels of the reopening of St. Kitts and Nevis's borders on October 31st, 2020.
During the Tuesday, October 6th broadcast of Leadership Matters, Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, in his address, alluded to some of the steps the tourism sector is taking to address concerns about the opening of borders come October 31st. The COVID-19 National Task Force, the Ministry of Tourism, including the Tourism Authority, are in charge of determining entities that can be certified as being compliant with COVID-19 protocols and hence can be certified as part of a bubble of low-risk services and entities that visitors and residents can access. Harris went on to state that work is ongoing in getting various identified stakeholders up to speed and will be diligently pursued by the task force and the entities themselves. Since the announcement of the border reopening date, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, has been meeting with hoteliers.
I am advised that discussions have taken place with Park Hyatt, Marriott, Four Seasons, Koi at Hilton. Our task force is open for continuing discussions as and when necessary.
Currently, Dr. Harris reported, hotel operators are finalizing lists of on-compound services which can be safely provided to guests, and discussions are ongoing regarding access to selective excursions or tourist sites which visiting guests can safely access. Some examples Prime Minister Harris gave included Brimstone Hill National Park, zip lines, ATV tours, safari tours, Romney Manor, rainforest tours, and selected beaches. He went on to state,
the list, of course, is not exhaustive. There are two broad categorizations to determine the extent and timing of integration by tourists into our society. This is, of course, based on their country of origin. These destinations can be broadly categorized as those which are part of a bubble, that is, low-risk countries and other countries which we may classify as high risk.
The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force on Tuesday, October 6th, issued a press release stating that the 5 persons involved in money laundering at the Police Cooperative Credit Union have been granted bail. Dion Webb, Mario Wigley, Shanita Richards, Hyacinth Phipps and Tishari Fifield were granted bail on Monday, October 5th, 2020, in the sum of $60,000 with 2 sureties. Their bail conditions are as follows. They are to surrender all travel documents. They are to report to the police station twice per week, that is, on Mondays and Fridays. They are to have no contact with the employees of the Police Cooperative Credit Union in relation to these matters. However, they are allowed to conduct business, and they are to return to court on December 7th, 2020. Mario Wigley of Keyon was charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering by possession, 1 count of money laundering by possession, 1 count of money laundering by transactions, 1 count of obtaining money by false pretense, 3 counts of uttering of forged documents, 3 counts of forgery, and 4 counts of demanding money on forged documents. Hyacinth Phipps of Gardens Housing was charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering by possession, 1 count of money laundering by possession, 1 count of money laundering by transactions, 1 count of obtaining money by false pretense, and 1 count of demanding money on forged documents. Shanita Richards of Paris Extension was charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering by possession, 1 count of money laundering by possession, 1 count of money laundering by transactions, 1 count of obtaining money by false pretense, and 1 count of demanding money on forged documents. Tishari Fifield of Gillard's Meadows was charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering by possession, 1 count of money laundering by possession, 1 count of obtaining money by false pretense, and 1 count of obtaining money on forged documents. Dion Webb of New Road was charged for 1 count of misconduct in public office, 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering by possession, 3 counts of uttering of forged documents, and 4 counts of causing money to be paid on forged documents. The UN Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, said that the economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic in Latin America and the Caribbean will be slower than the return to productivity following the subprime mortgage crisis more than a decade ago. Alicia Barcina was speaking during a virtual press conference where she unveiled ECLAC's latest report, which outlines policy recommendations for addressing the economic effects of the pandemic. The study argues that maintaining and deepening active macroeconomic policies will be essential for recovery as well as economic and social transformation in the wake of the global crisis. It also stresses the importance of international cooperation, including through better distribution of global financial support. The COVID-19 pandemic is having historic negative effects in economic, productive, and social spheres with lasting consequences and medium-term effects on growth and increased inequality, poverty, and unemployment. That is why the process for economic activity, GDP, to return to its pre-crisis levels will be slower than what was observed during the subprime crisis in 2007 to 2008, said Barcina. The Latin America and the Caribbean region is experiencing its worst economic crisis in the century due to the pandemic, with gross domestic product GDP estimated to contract by 9.1% by the end of the year. GDP will be at the same level as in 2010, translating to a 10-year setback and sharp increase in inequality and poverty. Additionally, some 2.7 million businesses are forecast to close in 2020, with unemployment set to reach 44 million, or 18 million more than last year. The number of poor people in the region is expected to reach 231 million, the same level as 2005, or a 15-year backslide. As a result, active macroeconomic policies will be needed to resume growth and to promote structural transformational, said Bassina. Public revenue must be strengthened, conventional and non-conventional, expansionary monetary policies must be maintained, and macro-prudential regulation must be bolstered along with the regulations.
This is the Carib Update News Service. I am Wendy Chateau reporting. Guyana's Deputy Chief Elections Officer arrested. This is the big story we're tracking this hour on Wednesday, October 7, 2020. Details of this story and more straight ahead. Now for the details. Guyana's Deputy Chief Elections Officer Roxanne Myers has been arrested by police as they continue their investigation into the disputed March 2 regional and general elections. Attorney Nigel Hughes told reporters that his client has been arrested for obstructing the course of justice because she exercised her right to silence. Hughes said that the Deputy Chief Elections Officer learned that she was wanted by the police for questioning, and so she voluntarily visited the Criminal Investigations Department. In August, soon after the Guyana Elections Commission announced that the main opposition People's Progressive Party Civic had won the elections, the police launched a comprehensive investigation into the elections, resulting in charges being laid so far against the Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield and Returning Officer of Region 4 Clement Mingo. The two men have appeared in court on charges relating to fraud, misconduct in office, and a breach of the public's trust. The Jamaica parliamentary opposition has accused the government of playing politics with the distribution of computer tablets to schools. The Ministry of Education is in the process of distributing thousands of the devices for online lessons. Speaking Tuesday at a media briefing, Lisa Hanna, Member of Parliament for St. Anne South East, claimed that the ministry is mainly supplying the devices to schools in JLP-controlled constituencies.
The Minister, Favour Williams, came and gave out tablets in constituencies in St. Anne. There is a roster, I'm told, of constituencies where that is being done. I know, I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm sure it is the case, that none of us have been consulted to say, boy, Lisa, we want to come in and give you internet or provide some of your schools with tablets. They've been to Southeast Clarendon, not Southwest Clarendon. Southeast Clarendon is, the Member of Parliament is Mr. Pernell Charles, Minister Charles. Comrade Lothan Cousins is the Member of Parliament for Southwest Clarendon. Let us stop playing politics with education. This is not the time to do it. Both PMP and JLP, picnic them, need education.
Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness has said the authorities there will now be starting to accept antigen test results for persons looking to enter the island. He made the announcement in Parliament late Tuesday.
Will be maintained. However, the pre-testing requirement for visitors from high-risk countries will be maintained. However, consistent with the local acceptance of antigen testing, the pre-testing requirement will be modified to permit both PCR and antigen tests. Mr. Speaker, this should make it easier for visitors, both Jamaicans coming from overseas, Jamaicans who have gone overseas for visits, coming back into the island, Jamaicans who live overseas but who want to visit, and for tourists who are visiting Jamaica, to meet the pre-testing requirement as antigen tests are more readily available and are faster and cheaper than PCR tests.
Holness said visitors will no longer have to upload their COVID-19 test results to the Visit Jamaica website, but must present the results at the airport. Grenada has reduced its entry protocol requirements as it moves to further open up its economy. Its tourism minister, Clarice Modest, says it has seen an immediate jump in bookings to Grenada, which, like other islands in the region, is seeking to restart its tourism sector after months of COVID-related lockdowns and restrictions. Tahira Burke reports.
Grenada has eased its protocol requirements for visitors, a move that Minister of Tourism Clarice Modest says has begun to make a difference with a surge in bookings since the announcement was made a few days ago.
We are so grateful in this sector for the reviewing of the protocols, that made a lot of difference. The bookings came in significantly after that, and we expect it to grow.
She said the airlines are coming back.
Had all of the flights that usually come to Grenada have either resumed or have given us scheduled dates.
While no cruise ships will be coming anytime soon from outside the Caribbean, the Grenada Tourism Minister said they are looking to start a Southern Caribbean cruise schedule. She said Seabourn is developing luxury Caribbean itinerary that involves only islands in the EC bubble and originating from Barbados.
What they're proposing is no contact with locals. So they want to come and they will berth out, well, they wouldn't berth, but they will anchor outside. And they have their own fancy boats and so on. They will transport their guests to a beach. They have requested some beaches and we're looking at it, and I wanted to take a minute to explain that again and to beg cooperation from Grenadians.
Modest said there will be minimal risk with a schedule that will run from November to April.
There is another one, Sea Dream Yacht Club. It's a yacht, and it will be bringing in between 50 and 112 persons. They'll be coming every Saturday from the 7th of November right on to sometime next year.
Minister of Health Nicholas Steele says Grenada is comfortable opening up further, learning from the experience of St. Lucia.
St. Lucia in particular has had up to the end of August or middle of September 6,000 visitors come in with the various protocols that they initiated for their hotel workers and their citizens, as well as the visitors. Not a single transmission of COVID-19. We use that as the first step in saying, well, this is something we would look at.
For Primetime Caribbean, I am Tahira Burke.
This is Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service. In more news, Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Keith Rowley has strong words for fretting used car dealers there, warned that their market may collapse amid the removal of tax concessions for the imported vehicles and the reduction of the importation of the age of the used cars to 3 years. The Trinidad leader says the importation of cars was not a national priority at this time. He told reporters that the choice is between ensuring there is foreign exchange to buy medicines and buying foreign cars. Rowley said, quote, "One thing this country is not short of is motor cars, but we cannot be short of medicine for the hospital." Rowley revealed that consideration was made to completely ban the importation of cars. Rough seas associated with Hurricane Delta forced the closure of a roadway along Harbour Drive in the Cayman Islands capital, Georgetown, overnight. A severe marine warning remains in place for the next 24 hours over Grand Cayman, even though the all clear was given yesterday afternoon after the now Category 4 storm passed about 100 miles southwest of Grand Cayman. This has been another edition of Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service, the Caribbean's newsroom. I am Wendy Chateau.
We now bring you this international report.
Hello, I'm Tom Watts with the BBC News. Greece's Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis has hailed a court ruling that a neo-Nazi party, Golden Dawn, is a criminal organisation. He said it ended a traumatic cycle in Greek public life. Golden Dawn's leader was among those found guilty after a 5-year trial. But speaking to the BBC, Georgios Kotrogoulos of Greece's opposition Syriza party warned countries must still be vigilant against extremism.
The sad reality is that not just in Greece, throughout Europe, we have a presence of this extreme right ideology of hatred. Not just in their extreme expression within neo-fascist groups like that of the Golden Dawn. Sometimes we have migration of some of their ideas, especially related to xenophobia, to mainstream political parties of the right.
Armenia's human rights ombudsman for the disputed territory of Nagorno-Karabakh says about half of its civilians have been displaced in the fighting with Azerbaijan. The conflict is now in its 11th day. Rehan Dimitri has the details.
An estimated 75,000 people have had to leave their homes, according to Artak Beglarian, the region's human rights ombudsman. Many others are in underground shelters as attacks continue. When the latest fighting began on September the 27th, it was mainly concentrated along the front line of the disputed region. But last Friday, Azeri forces began targeting Stepanakert, the de facto capital, with rockets.
This year's Nobel Prize for Chemistry has been given to two women who developed a revolutionary gene editing technique. Emmanuelle Charpentier from France and her American colleague Jennifer Doudna are the first women to share the prize without a male collaborator. Ms. Charpentier told the BBC about their discovery.
You have to imagine the genomes of cells and organisms being like a book containing sentences and text that are giving the code for life. And this technology works like a software which will recognize specifically certain sentences and certain words in the text and correct the sentences. So it's really a tool that allows to rewrite the code of life.
Their work has already been used to develop crops that can withstand pests and drought and is contributing to new cancer therapies. It's controversial, though, with some campaigners opposed to a technique they believe artificially alters life. A new report from the International Monetary Fund says it's possible to achieve net zero carbon emissions by the middle of the century at a reasonable cost. It recommends an initial green investment push, followed by increased taxation to drive up the price of carbon. World news from the BBC. 2 Kenyans have been found guilty of helping Islamist militants attack the Westgate shopping mall in the capital Nairobi in 2013. 67 people died in the siege by al-Shabaab jihadists. Phone records showed hundreds of conversations between the two men and the militants. At least 180 people have been arrested in Indonesia for participating in sometimes violent protests against a new labour law. Police used water cannon and tear gas for a second day to disperse large crowds in the capital Jakarta and several other cities. Critics of the new law say it gives too much power to employers and will penalise workers and the environment. The government says the legislation is needed to attract foreign investment. France has introduced a new law giving child social media influencers the same protection as child actors and models. It's the first country to do so. Here's Emily Haller.
When under 16s become Instagram or YouTube stars, there are few labour or privacy regulations to protect them from exploitation. France's new legislation will control the hours child influencers can work and what happens to their earnings. There's big money in it. Forbes says last year's top earner on YouTube was Ryan Kaji, a 9-year-old American boy who reviews toys. The law includes a right to be forgotten, meaning that platforms will have to take down content if the child requests it. Companies will also have to receive approval from authorities if they want to employ a child influencer.
The regional government of the Belgian capital, Brussels, has announced that all bars and cafes in the city will be closed down from Thursday for at least a month. The decision follows a sharp rise in coronavirus infections. Drinking alcohol outdoors will also be banned. However, restaurants serving meals at tables will remain open. The Brussels region will decide on Friday whether to keep schools and universities open, and if so, how. BBC News.
That was the WinFM Headline News, brought to you by KDP Enterprises, Caribbean Alliance, Carrie Brewery, CNC Trading, The Grange.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Do you know your indoor air quality? Did you know that mold and bacteria particles are floating in the air you breathe and can cause illnesses? Steam can purify all indoor surface areas. Steam and air purification will allow you to breathe easy. Breathe Easy is the name of a business which promotes pure indoor air quality, offering professional sanitization service for residential, commercial, industrial, and public spaces. The air quality will be tested prior and post-service. Our team will delicately scrub your air so you can breathe easy. Call today for assessments and bookings at 667-0557 or 765-4925. So give us a call and breathe easy.
Relatively low moisture levels associated with a ridge will restrict the formation of significant clouds and showers over the Leeward Islands today and tonight. Today, partly sunny with a 20% or slight chance of brief afternoon showers. Tonight, mostly fair. Winds east-southeast at 4 to 10 knots, becoming easterly by this afternoon. Seas 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. Sunset today will be 5:55 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 6:02 a.m. That's your weather forecast for today. Comes with the kind compliments of Breathe Easy.
Do you know your indoor air quality? Did you know that mold and bacteria particles are floating in the air you breathe and can cause illnesses? Steam can purify all indoor surface areas. Steam and air purification will allow you to breathe easy. Breathe Easy is the name of a business which promotes pure indoor air quality, offering professional sanitization service for residential, commercial, industrial, and public spaces. The air quality will be tested prior and post-service. Our team will delicately scrub your air so you can breathe easy. Call today for assessments and bookings at 667-0557 or 765-4925. So give us a call and breathe easy.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Well, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for choosing Win FM 98.9. It's 18 minutes now before 1 o'clock. It's time to continue Voices on Win FM 98.9. And this segment of Voices comes your way. Compliments SL Hosford and Company Limited.
It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive for the months of September to October. Horsford's Automotive will be on their biggest sales drive for 2020. Come to Horsford's Automotive in the months of September and October and drive away with up to $30,000 discount on select models. Your choice of either free gas for 3 months or up to $1,000 in free groceries. 50% discount on VAT. Yup, for the months of September and October, pay just 8.5% on VAT. Free servicing for 1 year. Free bill of sale. Free registration, licensing, and tinting. 0 down payment. That's right. Absolutely no down payment. And much, much more. It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. It's the Hogsford's Building Center's Very Good Electrical and Plumbing Fixtures Sales Event, happening now until October 31st. All electrical and plumbing fittings will be discounted by 25%. 25%.
This is very good.
That's right, 25% off all electrical and plumbing fixtures, happening now until October 31st. The Very Good Electrical and Plumbing Fixtures Sales Event at Hogsford's Building Centers on St. Kitts and Nevis. Very good products, very good prices, very good discounts on all electrical and plumbing fixtures at Hogsford's Building and Nevis Centers, happening now.
This is very good.
See store for details.
Yes, once again, welcome to Voices on Win FM 98.9, the first segment of the program, sponsored by Rams Trading. We're talking about agriculture in Nevis. We got some insights from the Director of Agriculture, Mr. Randy Elliott, as well as the Director of Culture, Mr. Antonio Avenatti Liburd. So many activities on Nevis, quite impressive. A week of agriculture starting on Monday, and that was our first segment of the program. Now, we are joined this afternoon. We have with us Mr. Calvin James, and we have Mr. Rodney Baptiste, who will be here momentarily. Yes, he is now. And these gentlemen are here today to talk about a topic that you will find very interesting. They want to talk about the game of bat and ball, sometimes called cricket. We're not talking about the insect. We're talking here about sport. And I want to invite opening comments from the gentlemen who are here today. Let's say very good afternoon to Mr. James. Mr. James, a very good afternoon to you.
Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
All right, so welcome to Win FM 90.9. Mr. Calvin James, joined by Mr. Rodney Baptiste. Can I ask you to introduce yourselves to our listeners?
Well, good afternoon, listeners. I'm Calvin James. Professional background is engineering. I'm an industrial engineer, but I'm very much was involved with cricket over the years, from Canada to St. Kitts. What brought me here to Win FM is because of the fact that over the years we have noticed that cricket has declined, particularly in St. Kitts. And there could be a number of reasons why. And I thought this was an opportunity when we would like to sensitize the public and get ideas and views and information that can help us to really move cricket back to where it was and beyond. I believe there's a number of things that can be done, and over the years I realized that the current executive of the Cricket Association and previous have been pretty well mute or stagnant in really promoting cricket, particularly among the youths, starting from primary school, secondary school, and community cricket, or grassroots cricket. I must commend them for really starting the league. I understand this past couple of weeks, and I think that's a good start, but I believe we can't be doing the same thing over and over the years, and at the same time expecting a different result. I believe it's very, very important for us to really look at it from a positive standpoint and try different things, especially in today's world when you find innovations and creation is required for us to move anything forward, business or otherwise. And cricket is a business. So I thought by coming here this afternoon and might be getting some ideas from outside, we might be able to agitate and bring some of these ideas to the powers that be regarding to cricket. In a sense, I feel very, very strongly that for us to preserve and improve cricket, we need to really look very, very strongly at putting a program together, a professional program that is endorsed by the Cricket Association, the Leeward Islands Cricket Association, Windies Cricket Association, even ECCB and ICC. I believe this is very important. So when we put a program together, it's a program that has been approved and is being followed by everybody. I haven't heard anything for the short time that I had with Cricket Association, which was over 10, 15 years that I was involved, directly involved. I still have interest in cricket, that's why I'm here. I'm doing this because of the love of cricket. And I believe this is the only how we can get the general public involved, rather than having the old system where you have the old boys network staying in the little area and we're not hearing anything about cricket. You're hearing on the radio daily everything about other sports. Football is moving ahead. We were ahead of football, some years ago. And now football is ahead of us. We'll get all kind of reasons for this. We'll get, finance and all that stuff. But in truth and in fact, there's a lot of reasons why, because I don't believe that the Cricket Association are really focused on even having a revenue stream whereby they can really get funds to develop cricket. And more so, I still very, very strongly feel as though we should be able to develop East Zone primary school cricket and secondary school cricket, Central Zone primary school and secondary school, and West Zone primary school and secondary school, and a program that we can bring forward to the Ministry of Education and Sports, whereby we can show the benefits that cricket can bring to our youngsters and can even have a career path for them. I have not seen anything like that coming forward, despite the fact that we have, you can say, retained professional coaches that are being paid. We have professionals that is part of the executive of the Cricket Association, and we haven't seen anything. I mean, as recently as the COVID, I haven't seen any program to protect our kids in the COVID. Nothing at all. Recently we just had the women cricket in England. We had the CPL. It was shown on the jumbo screen in the park. Nobody knew about it. There's no information going out there regarding cricket. But again, there was some light at the end of the tunnel, because like this cricket is played at Connery. Despite the fact, again, I must complain that over the years we have lost all our cricket grounds within Bastia, except for Warner Park, where we used to have community cricket, for an example, at Greenlands Park, down at Lime Keel, at Patsy Alla's, over at the Gardens sometimes, over at the paddock in Newtown. Is no green space in Bastia for us to play cricket, whereby you can say, hey, you got a group of guys from McKnight, from the village, from the Newtown or any other area, and we can say, let's get a group of youngsters together, a couple hours after school, and play some cricket. Let them get involved. Get them off the street, and you can give them the rudiments, the fundamentals. So this is the area that I think focus must be chartered to, for us to really move cricket forward. I will pause here for now and allow my colleague, Mr. Bacchus, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Mr. James. A very pleasant afternoon to all listeners of Win FM radio via internet as well. My name is Rodney Batiste. I am originally from Grenada, the Spice Island of Grenada. I've been in St. Kitts well over 25 years, having come here back in May of 1994 to join the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, where I worked until October of 2013. I started doing cricket broadcasting here on St. Kitts back in 1998, and I have covered the Leeward Islands 3-day cricket, regional 4-day cricket throughout St. Kitts, Nevis, and several of other Caribbean islands, including the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I have also been a member of the Caribbean All-Stars cricket team after representing the ECCB had cash. Previously, the Caribbean All-Stars cricket team was known as the Veterans cricket team. And Mr. James suggested to me that I create a cricket chat, which I have done, and we have quite a number of local cricket enthusiasts, cricketers, cricket administrators, coaches involved in the chat. And the idea is to push the redevelopment of cricket here on St. Kitts and Nevis, something that Mr. James, I have recognized, is extremely passionate about. And it will come out during the course of this program, because Mr. James is very, very keen on pushing all levels of cricket, grassroots cricket, and more or less resuscitating, reinvigorating and reviving cricket at all levels throughout the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Batiste, for your opening remarks. And gentlemen, I'm going to be devil's advocate for a minute and ask you this question and take it with the spirit in which it's intended. When I talk to people about cricket, they say, St. Kitts is not a cricketing place, St. Kitts is football, and Nevis is cricket. Now, you're an experienced man, Mr. James. How do you respond to that?
Well, there was some, I would say, there is some truth to that statement. But if you got to go back in some of the historical facts that I know, I'm not that old actually, but really and truly, cricket was really the leading sport in St. Kitts some years ago. Cricket is really what make one a park. In addition to all the other sports and activities and political, you can say, meetings that was held there. But cricket was always the forerunner. So by this saying that football that is St. Kitts, I will agree with that, because that is currently what's happening. Football is well organized, it's well structured. They are promoting the sports within the school structure, within the grassroots structure. They're bringing everybody out to the park. And that is what the Cricket Association has failed to do over the past at least 20 years. I have made recommendations to Mr. Cameron over the years as to what we can do to at least start a promotional program to bring cricket back to the park. I'm not looking for any kudos or any trophies or anything like that. It's just I did this in Canada. I raised funds in Canada. I coach up to 1,000 kids from primary school to university level. But that's Canada. But here where I born, where I am from, and I've seen cricket decline like this, it is a concern. And because you're not hearing it much on the media, you're not seeing anything, you're not talking to the schools and the kids and so forth. I believe that is the fundamental problem, apart from the fact there's a decline around the region. No doubt about that. But we can do better. So I will in fact agree with you that at this present moment, football is really leading the pack. And they've set in some good examples, which at least we could tweet. We should have a collaboration with all the sports. We should be able to have at the end of the year, have a big function where everybody can come out and recognize and invite other sports and so forth. What is being done, and they have a full executive. So this is my contention.
Now, before I go to Mr. Batiste and to get his take on that comment, can you recall those green spaces that you mentioned earlier on? You just said there are not so many green spaces. My words, not yours.
Yes.
Only Warner Park for cricket.
Yes.
In the days when cricket was popular, by your recollection, what was different then?
What was different then is that you had cricket playing almost in the backyard. You had a group at Greenlands where people play cricket. You go down to the garden, you had cricket and football. You go up to Patsy Alla's grounds, you had cricket. And more recently, behind in Limekeel, there was cricket. It's more football now than cricket. More recently also at the paddock in Newtown, there was cricket. You cannot go to Warner Park and use the cricket grounds at any time as you would like, because it's an international venue now, right? In order for you to go to Connery to play cricket, you have to get permission. And the youngsters from Limekeel has to travel all the way to Connery to play cricket for 2 hours after school. Why don't we look at utilizing some of the high school or primary school grounds through the ministry to have access on the afternoon 2-3 times a week and work with the schools to develop cricket. I mean, this is fundamental. If you got a proper program whereby you show the benefits, right? How you discipline, nutrition, fitness, the whole works about cricket. This is what they need to do. I have never seen a proper program put together when I was part of the Cricket Association that showed this is one of our development programs that we want to implement and follow through. I have never seen it. And several times I bring it to their attention. I got shut down many times. So that's the answer.
Now, you were assistant to Mr. Horatio Versailles back in 2007 when the World Cup came all the way here to St. Kitts and Nevis. And at that time, several venues were made available. I think you had perhaps some input from a gentleman called Alan Stanford.
Yes.
Somewhere along the line. I can't recollect the exact chronology of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you had at one time, in some people's view, more grounds per capita than other territories in the Caribbean.
And we still do.
So what has happened?
Well,
why are they not being utilized?
Well, this is a good question. You see, the grounds we had really spread right around the island. We have a lot of grounds in the rural areas where most of the folks in the rural areas do have access to the grounds. You can say most of the time. If you got to look at, you're going east, you go to Connery, you go to Cayon, you go to Manius, they have access to their grounds more than we have access to any grounds in Bastia. If you go around to St. Paul's, you have 2 grounds down there. Or, there used to be 2 grounds, one in Newt ground, one in Sandy Point, virtual grounds. So you have a lot of grounds around the island. But when you come to Bastia, where is the Mecca, and where we have most population, most youngsters, we don't have a cricket ground here. And we could utilize, I believe if we have something professional properly done, I believe the ministry will accept, will adopt, will work with you. But if you don't have anything and you're not showing them what the benefit is, you're not recruiting, you're not working with any school, you're not adopting any schools and so forth, you're going to bring a bunch of youngsters over at Connery, right? Who could get to Connery from Limekeel? A guy would like to know, hey, could we go over there, the Limekeel grounds, a couple hours, twice a week, 3 times a week, and play some cricket down at the gardens, you know what I mean? And so forth. So this is the area that I think we need to get back to the community and bring the community out, have activities. These are things that they need to work with the communities. They need to really, you haven't heard anybody from the executive even talking on the radio and when from, just the news flash from ZIZ, with Mr. Clark and Win FM, but we haven't really heard any real program coming out to say, this is what we are doing for cricket. COVID is on, this is our protocol. This is how we're protecting our kids. These are the protocol we're using. A lot of our guys from the Caribbean All-Stars now here, because of the fact that the last couple of years we played cricket, what happened? We paid our fees 2-3 years in a row, and what happened? We get 2 games for the season, 3 games for the season. The ground's not prepared, no umpires turn up, and the list goes on and on. So the guys decided, hey, we're not getting any games. And sometimes those youngsters take off time from the weekend part-time work, And this is what created, you can say, part of the downfall of cricket.
Mr. Baptiste?
With respect to persons saying that St. Kitts is all about football, and football is the dominant sport here on St. Kitts, that in itself is factual. That is correct. And I guess that has come about because the local football association, they, in collaboration / in conjunction with the International Football Federation, as well as CONCACAF and the Caribbean Football Federation, they have done quite a lot in order to stimulate and generate a lot of interest in football. And they run football competitions more or less year-round. But in order to generate interest in cricket, the local cricket association will have to get their house in order. They will have to plan more and schedule more tournaments, more local tournaments at different levels. Von and Springer used to have the under-13. Teams used to come in from Barbados, Dominica, various Caribbean islands. And that in itself was commendable. And it is unfortunate that it has not continued. So I would like to see more cricket being played at different levels, different age ranges. You have under 13, under 15, under 17, under 19. And in so doing, you will have a far better transition from one level to the next by the youths, which will make it easy for them to transition into St. Kitts national team, Leeward Islands team, West Indies select team, and eventually West Indies team. So I think if more is done by the local cricket association, more interest can be stimulated in cricket. We have seen large crowds at Warner Park, people going to look at 50 cricket, the one-day internationals. We have seen large crowds gather to watch 2020 cricket. And Kittitians from the 26 years that I have been in St. Kitts, they do like cricket. They like cricket, but you cannot have a market here for cricket. People, they like the sport, but it is not being pushed. So it has to be promoted, it has to be marketed, and we have to do more to get our local cricketers playing more cricket. We have on record, Mr. James can tell you, maybe something like 23 cricket grounds throughout St. Kitts alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, per capita, that's high.
That's amazing.
That's a high rate.
That's amazing. Let me interrupt you for a minute. We have a caller who's on the line. Caller, thank you for holding, and you're live on Win FM. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, you're live. Go ahead, please, sir.
Yeah, that last caller there who was talking about cricket, man, I really agree with him, you know? Like we know, St. Kitts hasn't got a West Indies pick yet. And in order for them to get a West Indies pick, they got to push that cricket, man, locally. And I got a quick question. Was there any consideration given to the Nevis side in terms of the carnival preparations? Is there like any participation going to take place from the Nevis side and the St. Kitts level that they're planning now? Seeing that they didn't have their Culturama this year. That's all I had to contribute for now.
All right, thank you very much. You've asked a very interesting question, and I'm going to see if I can get someone qualified to answer that question for you. And hopefully, our next program, you'll get a clear answer, even before that, perhaps, on our newscast. But getting back to the cricket issue, and let's go back to the panelists. Yes, let's go back to you, and we're talking about the development of cricket. Now, people say to me, again, here we go. People say to me, okay, do you have any games in the rural areas where you have facilities? Do you have inter-parish sports? Do you have inter-village competitions? Inter-church competitions, my language, of course. And basically, some people say, why the game expensive, you know? You all get bat and ball, 2-bat ball, yard and pads and all that. So talk to us a bit about this cricket in those dimensions. Whether it's expensive, in your view, why is everybody waiting on the association? What about the villages and the parishes? And what about the passion for cricket exploding on the scene and bringing along perhaps the officials?
Mr. Bacchus, if you can jump in here. That is a true fact. Cricket is one of the sports that do cost a lot for the equipment, the gears. Okay? But this is where I believe the Cricket Association, again, being the governing body of cricket, and this is basically one of the leading, you can say, things in most of the other cricketing countries that I know of. The governing body lead cricket. The governing body bring it to the community. The governing body give them the directives and show them exactly, hey, ways to go about in, for an example, creating programs. I mean, I have to go back again to Canada because this is what I did with communities. You go to the communities, they have a community there, you show them your cricket equipment. You put a video on for them to see cricket. You have a bingo. You have a fundraiser here. So you get the people involved. For an example, when I say about bringing primary school and secondary school cricket in the different zones, the champion teams from the different zones would be able to come to Warner Park on a 10-10 or 20-20, and you watch your kids walking down on the cricket pitch at Warner Park. Just like how you can look at your kids running on the international Kim Collins track at Kim Collins Stadium. Or you can see your kids playing football in the International Football Stadium. Well, why we can't see our kids playing international cricket at the International Cricket Stadium, having played the semi-finals and finals there at Warner Park? So I will agree with you that the cricketing gear definitely is a cost. But when you reach out to the community, people will see what you're doing. People will recognize what you're doing. And you will get funds, you will get assistance, particularly if you have the youngsters and them involved and you're showing the benefits and so on that is coming through. So I believe, this is something that nobody have really, to the best of my knowledge, in the time I was there, have brought any plans forward whereby we can really, go out and have some fun. Example, the under 13 that Vernon Springer used to have was an excellent program. But what happened? After under 13s, where the kids go?
No, that's another issue. Let's go back to the phone lines. I'm coming to you just now. Mr. Batiste, let's hear from this caller. Call you live and on the air. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
I
Go
was
ahead.
listening. How are you doing?
Oh, we're doing fine. Thanks for calling, man. Go ahead, please. You're talking cricket.
Okay, I was listening about the agriculture, and something came to mind. Now, we have, I know it might be separate different, but all those things, we have a unique situation where the federal government will promote. I mean, there are a lot of countries that certain regions are designated specific for certain things. And if it appears the Navy is better at agriculture, whatever they do, I think the federal government should support them in what they're doing in any way they think needs be. And in that way, at least, whatever comes into the country, and it benefits all. Also, I think we have a federal foreign affairs minister who could speak to those things when we're doing these things, to let the world know what we have to offer. It's a packaging as well. We exporting, we create markets for our local farmers for exporting certain things, because I'm not sure if the marketing needs could assume everything in needs. And I'm not sure if they're thinking that way, to realize St. Kitts is also a market in the same country that they are. But some persons don't think that way, but I only hope that they're thinking that way, because we have the marketing needs is only what size. You have a bigger one in St. Kitts, so that's in double the market. But then you have also markets throughout the region that they could tap into. So I'm not sure, but I know the topic was about agriculture this morning, so I just let me tap into that, and because I'm not sure what they're doing, but is they not thinking that way, to recognize that we have a federal system that could help with our system. And we do not have to copy each other, because what Nevis is doing, St. Kitts doesn't necessarily have to do it. Because that could be a unique attraction for tourism in St. Kitts, in Nevis, and St. Kitts could come up with something different. We shouldn't be competing in one country against itself. It's just like competing against itself, as opposed to building that area, make it stronger, and develop something else in the other part of the country and make it stronger. And you could have a very powerful market and a lot of different things. So that's what I wanted to contribute.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, sir. You've raised some very interesting points. I'm sure that you got some people thinking about some of those issues you raised there. And of course, stay tuned to Win FM, because we plan to discuss some of those issues as well, in terms of getting the right people together to explain to us how the system really works. Because sometimes there's a system, but you're not aware of it. So if you can get people to tell you how it works, the way we have gentlemen here talking about cricket, it gives you a greater insight into what is really happening. So getting back to the panelists now, and you raised a very important point in my view. I'm not saying that one point is more important than the other, but that gap from under 13 upward, people like Carlos Brathwaite came to the under 13 program run by our very own Vernon Springer, and quite a few others as well. What has been done, perhaps, in your view, to address that issue? That's a Caribbean-wide issue. The other thing I want to put to that is that people want to walk like a champion. So if you have a West Indies cricket team that's not winning, you're going to get many young people saying, I want to be like LeBron James. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. When you're winning, everybody, the population is behind you. When you're losing, nobody's behind you, and you get more critiques. But that should not prevent you from moving and looking at innovative methods to move forward, to recreate. I observe, for an example, when the Leeward Islands team is winning, West Indies is winning for most of the part in recent years. Leeward Islands is not winning. West Indies is losing for most of the years. So it's a cycle, you know. The issue here is like anything else. You know, it had times when he's fruitful and other times when he's not. But you have to stay focused, and you have to be innovative and creative, and have a vision and a plan going forward. You can't be doing the same thing over and over for 20 and 30 years and expect different results. It's just like how COVID have a new norm. We have to now look at innovative and creative ways. We have virtual meetings now, you know, and it's the same thing with cricket. If you look around and you realize, hey, you know, guys, we've been this old boys network thing all the time. St. Kitts winning the Leeward Islands for 3 years in a row. And how many Kittitians been on the Leeward Islands team, right? And this is a tradition that go way back in the days of Gilbert and Harris and Victor, Eddie, and all those guys. You know, we have a systematic problem here over the years that I think we need to address, and it has to be addressed by everybody. It cannot be the old boys network business as usual. The communities, the schools, the parents, everybody got to be involved, which has never been done in any great extent recently. I really believe strongly that when you have kids playing cricket, parents will follow. When you have women coming to the cricket grounds, men will follow. I told Mr. Cameron, I'd like to make one suggestion to you at the Bastille Boys School when he was here last. I said, one of the suggestions I will leave with you today, sir, is this. If the Cricket Association, and the president was next to him at the Bastille Boys School, has taken $2,000 out of the sponsorship that they get from DCL or Cable and Wireless, and say to the public, the first 100 women come to Warner Park within the first hour of play will get a $10 top-up. You get 200 people in the park to watch a territorial match. Now you got 10, you got 20. People want to know what you're getting. You need to be visionary. You need to be creative. If you put a top of a $10 or $20 and you say the first 100 women coming to Warner Park before 11 o'clock in the morning, I sure you got 100 people, 100 women plus 100 men, 200 people in the park already. That's a spin-off. That is one idea. So I am just making that suggestion in the sense whereby we can work together. And I'm not only here just to critique the Cricket Association. I want to bring awareness to the public, because cricket is us, right? And we are cricket. So I believe by really airing our views and getting this on the media, it will bring some creativity. So look at Sun Island Close. They sponsor a tournament every year. You know, they've been doing pretty well in this, and I got to thank Mr. Nariani there for what he's been doing over the years. You know, what I'm saying is that when last have you heard the president or anybody from the Cricket Association come on your Win FM and have a talk and tell them what they're doing for cricket? They tell you, oh, it's on Facebook. But you're hearing football all the time. Every minute you're hearing something about football happening. So we really have to really look at it realistically, you know? And that is my take on that part of it, sir.
Mr. Batiste?
Yes, the Cricket Association, like I said, will really and truly have to step up to the plate. They will have to reorganize themselves and be a little bit more passionate about pushing cricket here on St. Kitts. People may not realize that there is a career path in cricket. There may be youngsters who may not be too academically inclined, but they may be very good at cricket. They may have the skill, have the potential, the talent, the abilities, God-given abilities, and may excel in cricket. And personally, I am saying here that I would like to live to see a Kittitian make the West Indies Test cricket team. I have seen a Kittitian play for England. A Kittitian has played Test cricket for England. And I believe the only way in which that can happen is if the local cricket association get very serious about utilizing the resources, especially the numerous cricket grounds throughout St. Kitts, and having cricket more regularly. You can have the regular local tournaments, you can have business leagues, you can have church leagues, as Mr. Bacchus alluded to, and you can have all sorts of cricket, all types of cricket. And I have said on another program in the past that in Antigua, I have heard radio commentaries on lawn tennis ball cricket. So it shows that there is a high level of interest and a great passion for cricket on the sister island of Antigua. And the same thing can be done here on St. Kitts to bring back the crowds at Warner Park and to have people going to the Edgar Gilbert Park, the new Sandy Point Recreation Ground, the new St. Paul's Recreation Ground, and all the grounds throughout St. Kitts. I mean, a place like Sadler's. Sadler's probably has one of the biggest cricket grounds on St. Kitts. Yes. But very close to the high school in Sadler's. And we are not having enough cricket. So more have to be done in order to stimulate the interest and get the youngsters playing cricket. I feel so good as a bus driver when I transport youngsters with their bags, with their cricket gears, going to the Connery playing field, the Edgar Gilbert Park, and the different parks around St. Kitts to play cricket. So I would like to see the Cricket Association put more emphasis on the redevelopment of cricket, grassroots cricket, having more competitive cricket throughout the year, in as much as possible. Utilize the dry season and have the youngsters playing cricket, and also stimulate them by giving them incentives to want to play the game. We know that the game is an expensive game, but if players have done it in the past, it can be done now and it can be done in the future. So they just have to put more into it and get cricket going. And that's the only way a Kittitian will get onto the West Indies cricket team, because we have had Montserrat making the West Indies cricket team, the Visions have made it, Anguillan has made it. So it can be done. You It can be done.
Caller, thank you so much for holding your live. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bacchus.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes, talking cricket. I'm not really a cricket fan. I love to play it, but I wouldn't go out and watch it. What I would really like to see is having more 2020 cricket season rather than these long, what we call it again?
Test
Longer
matches,
version there.
4-day matches.
Longer version, right, yeah. Those are boring. The 2020 is exciting. It will bring out the crowd. And it will also develop the skill of the youngsters. But one thing I would like to let the youngsters know, that cricket is not just for persons who are not academically inclined. Persons who are not academically inclined. It is for everybody. Because you can make a well-rounded career from being a cricketer. At the end of your sojourn as a player, you can end up being a coach. You can sell your own business. Right? So there's a whole lot to be had from the discipline of cricket. Once you're going into cricket wholeheartedly and want to make it a career. Whether you have 10 degrees or none at all, once you have the skill and the ability to play. And we must encourage our youngsters to get involved. There must be incentives also, not only for the cricketers but for the patrons to the game. Like one person say, a $10 top up for the first 10 person or 20 person. People gonna go out. People gonna go out. That's my take on it, Mr. Bacchus.
Yes, man. I really appreciate that. We're going to go back to the phone lines. Another caller. Thanks for your contribution. Caller, thanks for holding your live and on the air. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bacchus, and to your panel.
Yes, sir. Good
Allow
afternoon.
me to, yes, sir. Allow me to make my contribution to you guys' discussion going on. On the last topic that's there on cricket, I have not been in St. Kitts for a couple of years now, so I don't know the way how the sporting administration and the organizations are set up.
You sound a bit like Mr. Richie Bunton. I don't know.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All right.
Yes, it is.
Carry on, Mr. Bunton.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how the system is set up, but at what age? What are the youngest age league do we have organized in the federation? Because you see, if you do not organize league at the younger age, way down, 5, 6 years old, you can't expect then somebody, at 10 to just coming in at 10 and, and really progress as they should. The fever should start, and the seed should be planted from a young age in organized sport. Not just the little boy on a regular field just, going about it as he cares or he wants, but organized. So I don't know if anybody they could speak to what type of organization they have for organized sports. And that is not just cricket, but all the sports. I'll give you the example. In New Jersey, they're my sons. I had my sons enrolled in Taekwondo from age 5. And from there they went into soccer, football, baseball, and everything, My youngest son is right now the number 3 wide receiver in the state of New Jersey in high school. So much so that he goes to a private school for free because of his athletic prowess, football and track. Because they started from young. He's also now on the NFL watch list. Right? You had another caller earlier before that was speaking about agriculture, and he made a statement that I'm not sure how he arrived by it when he said Navy is supposed to be better at and bigger at agriculture. Are there any numbers out there to say what are the available or the current, the active, how much active acreage of agriculture are there in Nevis versus that in St. Kitts? Because he can say that St. Kitts market is fully open to Nevis, so that's double Nevis market right there. Because then what happened to St. Kitts farmers? And also, who tells him that we can't compete with each other? So is he saying that Hosford should close down and give the monopoly to TDC? Because government is not in farming anymore, really. If he's speaking about we shouldn't compete with each other because governmental-wise, that might make sense. But as far as business-wise and entrepreneurship, no. Competition is healthy. Anyway, thank you very much. I'll continue to listen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bunton. And that's what we do at Win FM. We exchange ideas. We want to discuss matters. And hopefully at the end of it, we all learn some more than when we first started. But to your point that you made about the age you start the sport at, we'll get our panelists to answer that question. But I must throw this in. If you want to see people pack a stadium, or pack stadia, look around when you have inter-school sports. And you want to believe that it's a national festival. Because when you have children playing sport, everybody comes out. Mom, dad, granddad, neighbor, everybody. So let's go to our panelists.
Yes, Mr. Bacchus, I totally agree with the last caller, but the statement you just made. And that's what I've been advocating for several years. Anytime you want your business or your sporting organization to flourish and to progress, you must promote within the youngsters. You must start at age 4, age 5 playing cricket. I mean, that's when I started playing cricket here. My dad used to play cricket with me at 4 or 5 years old. But what I'm saying is that the organized part of it is by having it through the schools. And that's the reason why, in order to have it through the school, you must have a proper program. If you have a coach that is certified and he's supposed to be the coach, what is he doing? Do we have a program? Have we brought a program to the association? Have we tried the program? This is where the problem that I've been advocating all the time.
Well, gentlemen,
Another area.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're almost out of time, and I'm going to have to invite you back so we can continue our dialogue. We have 2 minutes to go, so I'm going to come back to you now, but I want you to think about 1 or 2 quick recommendations you want to leave with us. You have 2 minutes to go on the program. Back to you, sir.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I wanted to really put a heads up also for women cricket, girls cricket. You know, I mean, the women cricket right now in the West Indies is young, is looking forward for women cricket. They just had a coach there, Mr. Walsh, who's being appointed as the new coach for West Indies women cricket. But I would really like the recommendation that I start this conversation about really getting the program together to get it in schools. And they must also look at the revenue streams. They must look at innovative and creative ways what they can do. For an example, you had you had, for an example, National Heroes Day and Independence Day over at the Heroes Park. Next to the Heroes Park is Connery Cricket Ground. Could they have a breakfast there? Could they have a fundraiser there? Could they have an activity there to attract some of the people there? That is one thing that just came to mind off the top, for an example. And there's other innovative ways. So I would like them to really look at that seriously, whereby they create a proper program for primary school cricket. That must be number one thing to do. And then give them the opportunity from the champions from the respective regions to come to Warner Park and play. You know, I really believe that's the way to go. I leave that with them for now. And when we come back, we'll get into more the insularities and all that stuff that hampered us.
Excellent.
Over the years.
Mr. Batiste?
With respect to recommendations, I would like to recommend to the local cricket association that they initiate more local competitions. They have more local competitions amongst the local teams, and they should encourage the local teams to form clubs. So they have a proper club structure, and then you would have that club structure being transmitted towards the local association where subscription fees are paid and so forth. So if they would only encourage the local clubs to have more competitions for the local clubs, the local cricket teams, they can form themselves into clubs, have that club structure in place. And I would also like to encourage those who want to serve on the executive of the local cricket association to be serious about it, be committed and dedicated and devoted to the task at hand, and be serious, not there just for the name and the fame, but to really take cricket forward, to push cricket, to advance cricket, and to take cricket to where it really and truly should be here on St. Kitts.
And a quick one. Have you gentlemen heard of or seen any of the under 15 cricket at Connery or something? 35 overs? You know about that?
Yes, they just started a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
A couple of our members from our Caribbean All-Stars now is playing in that league because, like I say, our Caribbean All-Stars is not active at the moment.
Gentlemen, we've got to have you back. We'll talk off mic as to when you're available so we can continue our discussions. I may even invite someone from the Cricket Association to join the deliberations if they're willing to be here. But thank you very much for being a part of our program today. And all the very best to you. And we're quite interested in some of those recommendations that you made. So we have to speak again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having us, Mr. Bacchus.
Thank you so much. All right, that's our program for today. Very interesting conversation about cricket in St. Kitts, and we couldn't get half of it done because we ran out of time. But thanks to Mr. Calvin James, and thanks to Mr. Rodney Batiste for being here with us on Voices today. A very good afternoon to you.
It's the Hartsford's Building Center's very good electrical and plumbing fixture sales event happening now until October 31st. All electrical and plumbing fittings will be discounted by 25%.
This is very good.
That's right, 25% off all electrical and plumbing fixtures happening now until October 31st. The very good electrical and plumbing fixture sales event at Hartsford's Building Centers on St. Kitts and Nevis. Very good products, very good prices, very good discounts on all electrical and plumbing fixtures at Hartsford's Building and Nevis Centers happening now.
This is very good.
See store for details.
From the South, 98.9 FM.
voice. It's alright. Go ahead and be yourself. Feel good. It's alright. It's alright. Don't you let them spoil the party. Feel good. It's alright.